Hello there, and welcome to the first long overdue update video in the saga on e-ink for productivity. In this video, I'm going to go over a couple of things that have changed about this tablet, and we are actually going to discover one right now. You may notice that this is in Chinese. The reason why it's in Chinese is because I just did a software update on this machine. There is a very weird quirk with the way that Onyx has apparently geo-locked software updates, and they've just done it based upon the language that you have it set to. I was alerted of this by someone on Twitter. I will try to throw up their username if I can find it. Otherwise, thank you, anonymous person who I've forgotten now for the second time. But it was very helpful. And also I apologize because the brightness is a little low intentionally because the sun keeps coming in and out, and I want you to be able to see what's on the screen. I'm re-recording this because first of all, I discovered there was a software update, and second of all, when I did the recording the first time, I wasn't recording in 4K, and I wouldn't be able to zoom in on this because I'm a goof. So let's begin by unlocking the tablet. So now that the software update has finished, I'm going to change the language back to English. So I am definitely going to do that one pretty quickly because this is annoying. Ta-da! Okay. So now it is back to English as though it was when I first started this thing. So a couple of things to point out that were never brought up in the first video. First of all is this stylus. I completely forgot to show it. I am not an expert on this type of stylus. This is the Wacom. I know it's not Wacom now. Wacom or Wacom. I don't even know what's correct. I just know it's not Wacom because y'all told me. But this, they don't require batteries and they are pressure sensitive. This one has a button and an erase thing at the top. I'm not into styli, so that doesn't mean much to me. But this is a useful tool, and hopefully the software update that just happened will make it a little bit more useful. So let's first go to my apps and get back into Firefox, which is how I have been doing all of my work on this machine. Also, this is an interesting thing that got fixed with this update. The top tab bar is black again, and I can see the little plus to add a new document. The contrast appears lower, so I think this update forgot. Ooh, okay. Hang on one second. Yeah, okay. So when you are for every individual app, if you long press on it, you have the option to do some optimization. One of those is contrast. For whatever reason, it erased my contrast setting for Firefox. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was pretty high. I still think it needs to go higher, but this is fine for now. So the main thing that the software update addressed, and actually, what the heck? Now the status bar is gone. Well, this new software update appears to be less stable than at first we might have imagined. Okay. I do not want that. I want the high. I do want to see. I probably accidentally touched that because it's pretty sensitive. So I do not want full screen because I want to be able to still see the taskbar. But these optimization functions, they've probably changed since this update. I didn't look into the details of what the update did because I don't even know if this update has been released to English-speaking regions yet. It's really weird. My verdict remains that unless you are very, very committed to trying an e-ink productivity experience, this is not great, which is a shame because there are so many ways it could be great, and I think it has the power to be great. But anyway, let's go back to Firefox finally. Oh, you know what? I might as well, since I apparently misjudged that, I'll increase the contrast a little further. Okay. Oh, I have to hit back. That's better. But now this is not, but I don't know why that keeps happening. Oh, wait. Did I just, oh, good gravy, I just saw that thing. You're learning with me. Isn't it fun? Okay. it was this setting, whiten background. I'm going to uncheck that. And I bet that will fix our issue with the top, because probably what happened was I increased the contrast, which made that pretty much black. Oh, we're figuring this stuff out, people. Okay, so I'm going to let this load. So the most significant thing that the software update did was it has made third-party apps no longer hang up if they're not in A2 mode. So as before, we can toggle A2 mode and get a faster scrolling experience. Everything is more responsive in A2 mode, there's no doubt about that. But now if we're in normal mode, we can start scrolling and it will recognize maybe we need to try again. Again, this is a buggy experience, not at all perfect. Or possibly it's made much worse by the update that just happened. Let's try our fingers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is worse than it was. That is a shame. Let's try again. Let's go back to normal. You were working before. Well, I'm just going to open up a document to show you how things are going. Okay, I switch back to normal mode to see if I can't get this to perhaps behave how it was. This is such a bummer. I might have to play around more with those app optimization settings, because this did work until the most recent software update, and it did seem to kill those. You know what? Hang on. Okay, yes, that we have partially fixed this thanks to the animation timeout thing. Oh gosh. So I don't remember what it was set to. And unfortunately, this just is not good enough. The written English is not good enough for me to truly understand what it means, because filter app animation, less screen flicker, the larger is the value, the more stable is the display. Doesn't, I mean, ignoring the is's, it doesn't really convey to me what the heck that actually does. But the default setting of none doesn't allow it to auto load outside of A2 mode. So that is what that was. Okay, so back to an actual live document. So now that the software has been updated, and now that I have the app setting correct, we can actually scroll when we're not in A2 mode. It no longer crashes and hangs up. It does recognize that, oh, we're doing an animation, so switch to A2 mode and then go back to the normal mode. So that's a great plus. All right, moving on to day-to-day usability things. This is the keyboard that I've been using with it. It is just some $20 Amazon Bluetooth keyboard, and it works fine. There's one small issue with it that I don't know if it's the keyboard or the tablet, but it doesn't really matter. But if you can see the little Bluetooth icon, nothing is connected to it right now because the keyboard is asleep. As soon as I press a key, it should connect, and there we go. So now I can use the keyboard like any other keyboard. And as far as the typing experience goes, it's not terrible, but there is definitely lag. Let's show you. So you can see that you're probably about 3 to 4 words. If you're a fairly good typist, you're probably 3 to 4 words ahead of what it's showing you on the screen. If you can touch type, it's interesting because it may or may not be better or worse if you can touch type. I can pretty successfully touch type, so you would think it would trip me up because the words aren't appearing as I type them, but I'm able to adjust to that. If you are someone who looks at the keyboard, I don't think it would matter at all. But if you go to A2 mode, if you manually go back into A2 mode, So that hopefully gives you some idea of what typing is like on it. I don't find it to be that bad. Moving on. Say you make an unfortunate typographical error. Well, luckily for us, in the web interface with Google Docs, using the stylus, I need to turn the contrast down, I can't see what the tabs are. Anyway, using the stylus is kind of like a mouse input. It's not exactly the same, but if I long press on this word here, it will bring up the menu for like it would on desktop, although apparently I'm not stable enough. There we go. So now I can actually just touch the selection and it changes it for me. Unfortunately, the keyboard has popped back up. That was something I was hoping would get addressed with this software update, but it did not. The keyboard cannot stop itself from saying hello every single time it realizes that it's in a type in or a text input text box, basically. So you have to dismiss. Well, actually, I should see. No, it does not. So the keyboard does not auto dismiss, which is really frustrating. And the other thing is, if you can't just leave the keyboard there, because if you try to use your cursor keys to move around, it does this weird thing where it's selecting keys on the keyboard, which is really dumb. Like, why is this a thing? This is just bad. So you have to touch that key to get rid of the keyboard, which, you know, it's not the biggest deal, but it is stupid because it should know I've got a Bluetooth keyboard connected. Just stop popping that up. I've not had tons of experience with tablets, but I'm pretty sure any tablet worth its weight in salt is going to do that. So anyway, so that's a bit of an annoyance. But now that the software is updated to the extent that it is, it's not that bad. I have to turn the contrast down because this is going to drive me insane. Oh, I keep forgetting. Yeah, that's another UI annoyance. Let me adjust the blinds here. So this is, oh, you got a little spots of sunlight. Sorry about that. Okay, now I can read that again. Good. So, and this is a good thing to point out. Some people, when I talked about the fact that I like the web interface for Google Docs and the Google Docs app is, I don't like it. People had suggested using page mode. I'm pretty sure I looked into that and I still didn't like the way it looks, but in any case, the other issue is that notice how long it took to get this back. It doesn't have a lot of RAM, and I really think it's closing apps all the time. And so it took quite a while to get Firefox back. So I don't want to be doing research in one app and then writing in another, because now here I can simply swap tabs if I touch it correctly, and it'll bring up the new tab. And again, because it closed the app, it has to re-download this because silly, stupid nonsense. But so this is great. I was using this with Google Patents, and again, now we're not in A2 mode. You notice this doesn't say A2, but we can still, and I can use my finger if I wanted to, we can still navigate on the screen. It's no longer gonna crash the app if you don't have it in A2. It is still faster if you have it in A2. I will give you that. It's more responsive in A2, but at least now you can leave it in normal mode and not have to worry about that nonsense. So it's been really nice to use this for doing things like looking at patents and then being able to go right back to the script, and there you go. So I wouldn't be able to work as efficiently if I had to keep switching apps. It might not be so bad if this tablet weren't so limited in memory, but as it is, it's best, in my opinion, to have Google Docs open in a tab and you know, the other stuff going on. Speaking of, if I close out of Google Docs, this is an annoying little thing that's been happening. I always go to the web address And again, it's kind of touch input's a little goofy. And look, the keyboard's back. I always go to google.com/docs. But that brings up a 404 error because I guess this is a tablet and it's not expecting that. And it, unfortunately, and I'm going to blame this on Firefox, not the tablet. If you say request desktop site, it still doesn't fix this. So every time I have to go to docs.google.com, and again, okay, and it did remember to keep the desktop site. Sometimes if I've restarted a tablet or whatever, I have to actually go in and say, again, go back to the desktop site. Yeah. But the usability, the overall usability of the tablet has improved a lot with those software updates. It's still got its annoyances, like the fact that it didn't register that touch the first time. It is not fast, but, and I'll say this again, that's not a limitation of the e-ink display itself. That's just, unfortunately, the tablet, it's limited by the tablet itself. So, wah wah. But if this display were in something with, like decent hardware and there was some better software written for it, I could totally see e-ink for general purpose computing working, because it's not really that, it's not that slow. I mean, when you consider that a lot of these inputs, if we're in A2 mode, it will almost immediately start scrolling after you remind it what scrolling is. I don't think, obviously the refresh rate is atrocious, but for doing research, writing, all that stuff, that's perfectly fine. So, last thing I want to talk about in this video is the tablet doing wonders for my sleep? Is that one of the main reasons that I bought the tablet? Is that actually helping? And the answer to that is, I don't know yet. I've not been able to restrict myself to using this tablet alone at night, but also part of that is because I'm trying to get better at not working late into the evening. I'm trying to set a schedule to myself and not have more all over the place days, because that's just healthier. So I've just been working less, so I have no scientific basis for any of this, so I cannot come to a conclusion because I haven't really set up an experiment. I probably will do that in the future, but I have not yet noticed any difference in my sleep because I haven't really been doing it correctly. Another thing to note is I have had one of these giant Anker battery packs for like 3 years, and I haven't been getting a lot of use out of it, but now I'm using it as a basically portable power cord for the tablet, and luckily it draws enough current just in the on condition to prevent this from shutting itself off. So with this fully charged and the tablet fully charged, I could probably use this for 2 days straight, like probably 48 hours of use time, because this is like a 20,000 milliamp hour battery. The tablet only has like a 4,000 milliamp hour battery in it, so this is easily 5 times the capacity. And I'd say I could get it maybe, okay, 48 hours is too much, but in any case, this really extends the life of the tablet. But the one thing that I can say with certainty this tablet has helped with is eye strain. I don't really suffer from terrible eye strain, but I do get it enough to where if I've been in front of a computer screen all day, my eyes will start getting tired and painful, and this does not do that at all. The fact that it is literally the same, like, it looks like paper. This is my How to Get the Most Out of Your Victrola book. It's just a little bit of a cooler temperature, but it might as well be a printed page. And because of that, the eye strain issues that you normally get with a backlit display just do not manifest themselves here. And it's been great. I did one time, I was writing on my desktop and my eyes were starting to hurt, but I was still in a mood to write, so I switched over to the tablet and immediately my eyes were fine. So there is value. I know that 100%, and eventually when I make a main channel video with all these thoughts formulated and, you know, like written out and not be so rambly, I will bring that up, because regardless of sleep, just having a matte display like this is so nice for your eyes. And it's kind of a shame in my mind that it's so far been limited to e-readers. And again, this is technically an e-reader. That's what it's being sold as. But being able to use it as a tablet really does show that I really think that having more displays like this for general workplaces, general productivity would be quite beneficial to society, and hopefully one day we get there. I would like to see, well, I'm hoping that e-ink Holdings will either start charging less for their damn displays or will allow people to license it, because that's the main reason these are so expensive. It's because the display, probably Onyx paid $300 for the display alone, and that's why the rest of the tablet is kind of crap, because they don't have the budget to put really good hardware in it, because they blew it all on the display. And so I'm hoping that either we see alternatives to e-ink, or just e-ink Holdings will finally let some people produce it under a license so we can get a little cheaper, and we can get more people developing better software for it, because I really think, yeah, e-ink is a slow, not suitable for many things display, but if you think about it, the only things that we do on a computer that really require video class displays are watching video and doing like content creation. So like obviously I couldn't edit a video on this, I couldn't even edit a photo on this, but for writing, research, bookkeeping, all sorts of just day-to-day stuff, this is honestly pretty neat, pretty perfect. And it's, you know, like I said, I kind of hope that we get more displays like this, even if it's not e-ink, just more transflective displays. I think they're, I really do now believe that the backlit displays we're all surrounded with are probably less good for us than we imagine, or more harmful than we imagine, especially as they get bigger and bigger and closer to our faces. But yeah, that's it for this update. I apologize for taking so long to make an update, but not a lot has changed. I do need to go, and like I said, I do need to keep myself from using anything but this for a while, and we'll see how that goes. But I am still happy I bought this, because, oh, that's the other thing I haven't even touched on. I'm running out of time, but what I'll just say is the other thing is, because it's black and white and because this is kind of a pain to use for anything but writing or research, I tend to be more productive in the writing stage of my videos with this, because yeah, I can have my phone with me and look at Twitter, but it's much less distraction. It's a much less distractive environment using this, even if I still have access to my phone, because I don't have, this is always in front of me, and it's very much psychological, I will admit, and that's going to depend on person to person, but I find that just it's almost like using a typewriter. Some writers like using a typewriter because it's all it does, except this is obviously more versatile than a typewriter. But I totally get that sense that I feel more productive using this thing in the writing stage. If I have to do a lot of research and I don't really have a clear flow of what I'm writing, then yeah, this doesn't really improve stuff. But for when I have a video idea going in my head and I'm on one of those writing sprees, I can get a lot more done on this in an hour than I typically could on a computer, just because I can't help myself from being from getting distractions. And I bought a Chromebook specifically for that reason. I tried to lock it down, but it just I couldn't manage that, and that's on me. I realize that, but something about this combination of the black and white screen, it's kind of hard to use, and it's novel, makes me extremely productive here. So yes, the two concrete benefits I am seeing from this are, I feel like I'm more productive on it. Maybe I'm not, but I certainly feel like I am. This thermostat script, I don't remember if it was this video or another one, but I was able to get the whole script written out in about 3 hours, and then just had to do a little editing here and there on my main PC. So I really do feel that it helps me in that regard. My air conditioning just switched on, so that's what you just heard. But anyway, I'm going to finish this video up, and I'll let you know how things go in the future. Hopefully you are enjoying this and find it interesting. If you are a developer or someone who has any interest in e-ink, or like a, someone in a product thing, my goodness. Someone who works in a company who makes technology stuff, I really think you should investigate trying to make a more usable version of this. Maybe there's very little market appeal for it, but I think that this is just being held back by its terrible software experience. If this had good hardware in it and it was snappy and it really felt like it was just any other Android tablet that just happened to have an e-ink display, then I think this might be very successful. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but we're in an era now where people are more concerned about their health. I really think you could market it as a more healthy way to work, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm just a dude who makes videos on the internet. Thanks for watching.